Dave, I don't think this is the first time you've brought in a kicker mid-season in your career, so I'm curious just the process. How many guys do you like to see, and then what are you looking at, before they get here and while they're here to help you make the best decision?
Yeah, I mean, just in terms of like making a decision on who that is, really with both these guys that we brought in, Aldrich Rosas, he was at the Giants when I was in Philly, so I got to see him twice a year. Obviously, he was a talented player, went to the Pro Bowl early in his career. He's had some ups and downs like all these guys, but I had seen him quite a bit, so we thought he was a good option. And then with Riley, we had done a lot of work on him pre-draft and during the draft process and all that. I had not seen him in person. A lot of the COVID stuff and all that, we're not able to get out on the road and all that. But he was a guy that we had ranked really high in our evaluation process. So I'm excited about both of them in terms of getting them up to speed. Luckily, I mean, a snap, the hold is really the same for most of these people. These guys have all been on NFL rosters now. Even Riley, he was with New England in their practice squad, and he had been getting a lot of work there. So from that standpoint, there's not a whole lot of startup time. I would say probably the biggest adjustment really actually would be kick cover, because it's the coverage group is kind of built around what the kicker can do or what he does best, and so we just got to kind of figure that out. But other than that, it doesn't take real long for these guys to get up and go.
How did you look Wednesday?
Pardon me?
How did
Yeah, both those guys did a really good job. Yeah, I'm excited about both of them and feel good about it.
You mentioned kick coverage. Could Jack Fox be a possibility? Would that create some stability or not?
Yeah, no, he absolutely could. He's got obviously a really big leg. I know he played, him and Prater both played a year ago on kick cover. He does some things better than others, but at the end of the day, he's definitely a possibility.
Dan mentioned the other day the difficulty in kind of evaluating a kicker in the case of Ryan. You didn't know that he could, the high pressure situations you don't really know until the end. So with your new kickers, did you get an opportunity to simulate that some sort of?
Yeah, I would just say it's impossible really to simulate that until those guys get in that situation. It was unfortunate for him. I think highly of Santoso. He did a great job for us while he was here. It's unfortunate it didn't go obviously the way we wanted it to in that game. I take some responsibility for that also. But we're excited about the two guys we brought in here, and I hate it for him because it looks like he missed a couple kicks and we got rid of him, but it wasn't exactly. It's not just about those two kicks in that game. It was kind of everything. There's a lot to it. I mean, we brought in, so we had an opportunity to bring in Seibert and claim him when he got waived right at the end of the training camp. And so we brought him in, and then we kept Zane Gonzalez, a guy we thought really highly of. The way we keep them both is by putting Zane on the practice squad. Thought good about both those guys, and then Zane obviously got picked up. And then when Zane got picked up, it created an opportunity to get Santoso, so we brought him in. And we really brought him in. He was a punter, he was a kicker, he could do a little bit of both. And with the COVID and all that, something happens, then he gets a chance to come in and play. And sure enough, the week we brought him in, then Seibert went down on COVID. So then Santoso went in the Baltimore game, did a great job, and we felt great about him. And he had practiced well for us, and all of that stayed the same. And then obviously we got into the last game, didn't go as we wanted to. But it really wasn't as much about him as it was an opportunity to get two really good players. I mean, we got a guy who's been a Pro Bowl kicker in the National Football League. He's had his ups and downs, but we're hoping we can get him back to that. And then we had a chance to get who we thought was one of the top guys coming out of college. So we got two really good players. So it really had more to do with who we were bringing in than anything that Santoso did.
With Seibert, how's he doing? Is he still your kicker when he can get healthy this year?
Yeah, no, we think really highly of him. At the end of the day, he's got to get healthy, so we'll see how that goes. He's kind of in a process of rehabilitation right now. He's got a couple different options about which way he can go. I'll let him talk more about that. But right now we're still hopeful that he has a chance to come back in a handful of weeks. Obviously, we put him on IR, so it's minimum 3. So he's got 2 to go at least, but we'll see where that goes.
Surgery possibilities?
I think everything's possible. I think surgery is possible. I think no surgery is possible. I think there's a lot of different things. I would say that anytime you're dealing with like a hip and that area with the kicker, there's just a lot to it. And So we'll see kind of how his body responds and all that. But he can talk more about that.
You speak to Kalu's consistency back there. Returning kicks got you the explosive the other day too. But just having a guy that can not only field it really consistently the way he does, but there's also that threat like you saw last week of that explosive.
Yeah, I would say that you hit on that well. I mean, it's not just the returns that makes you feel so great about him. He's just such a trustworthy guy back there. He makes great decisions. He's a really good communicator. He makes sure everybody's away from the ball when they need to be away from it. He's very competitive. He makes sure the ball's really not on the ground very often. I mean, he's fielded most every ball back there. But he just does so much. And then the guys have so much respect for him. He works really hard at his craft. So the guys blocking for him, believe in him, which is a huge part of the whole thing. How much they respect him is a big part of it. But he's been great for us. Love him.
How close has God been maybe to breaking one on the kickoff part of it?
Yeah, shoot, we had one that was a little bit closer to midfield. We had the penalty, unfortunately, on the play there. But Godwin's been great for us. You know, I know you guys, we've talked about it throughout my conversations with you. But, you know, he came out early. He had trouble fielding the ball early on a little bit, and he just continued to work on it and develop. And, I mean, I give him all the credit in the world for really working hard at it. He's very conscientious. This game's really important to him. The team's important to him. He'll do anything for them. And so anyway, he's done a great job of developing. I think you can see he's playing with a lot more confidence back there now. The guys are blocking well around him.
Dave, a couple more minutes. An offense is preparing for inclement conditions. They're dunking balls in Gatorade tubs and trying to get a feel for that. You've got another game where it looks like rain is kind of in the early forecast. Do you do the same thing with kickers? I mean, do they run those K-balls through?
Yeah, we do some of that. I don't do as much dunking in tubs as like spraying with water, but we definitely snap some wet balls here and there. Obviously, we get a chance to work on it sometimes out here at practice. In the Pittsburgh game, we got some reps. But we definitely do some of that. I think the biggest thing is just making sure guys are aware, like the punt returner, making sure we keep, guys away from the ball if it is on the ground, do a good job of communicating. Returners take some extra time to make sure they secure the catch before they're running and getting started. And this time of year, all that comes up, I think, throughout the course of the league. I think a week or 2 weeks ago, I think you've seen turnovers and special teams start to spike up, which is typical for this time of year outdoors.